Alrighty, we are back again, and as I said last week, I'm planning to do that a bit more regular. The plan is to try and make this event every week around that time. Oh yeah, I know. The plan is to try and do that every week around the same time. But here's the deal, I will say that I will try to make it happen every week at that time, and then if I don't, I'll let you know and you will forgive me. That is the rules. I don't make the rules, so no Y2Kid do for you if it doesn't work. Okay, so and yeah, first off, welcome to everybody who is already here, and hopefully we'll get some more viewers later on. And we're starting it off slowly, and by slowly I mean it's a TVT, and we're gonna cast some turns. One interesting statistic that I noticed in this league that I have now coined as CPL Royale. One interesting thing is the SAG is real, apparently, it seems so. We've got 3 Terrans, and so that is 50% Terrans out of the top 6 players in CPL. There you go. And looks like the first map will be Sylphid. As I said, we are starting it with the TVT, and here in the 12 o'clock it is doLife spawning as the... what is that? Duke Green? I'm gonna call it that. And here at the 4 o'clock position we've got Pandor spawning as the yellow Terran. Alright, some chat going off. I don't really have a rule for the turn rate, so players are free to pick whatever turn rate they want. And while they are trying to work out the turn rate issues, and nothing really happens. We don't see, sadly, any gate proxy barracks in the middle. It's very rarely seen against Terran, and most of the time, if they do it, it's more for the faster scout rather than anything else. But yeah, while that's happening, let me explain again what are we casting and why are we casting it, and how are these players chosen and what are they trying to achieve. So, as most of you should know already, I assume everyone here is familiar with the CPL, but if not, CPL is a league that helps players from all skill ranges improve their Brood War play, and it's just aimed at finding partners, enjoying the game, and getting better at the game. So if you don't know about CPL already, check out CPL. There are a few posts on Team Liquid. I believe from there you can get a sense of the general format of the league. We do also have a web app which will eventually be updated to include all the rules about the format and everything else. You see doLife scouting early. We also have a Discord channel, which is the best way to contact us and start interacting with the league. Dada is already sending a chat of that already sending a message for that in the chat, and Pandor already scouts his opponent. Meanwhile, we do see that Pandor is instead opting for no scout or a later scout, and this is the advantage of 12 o'clock Sylphid. You can see that despite doLife sending out that early scout, his barracks is still ever so slightly ahead. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, CPL is a league aimed at helping players enjoy Brood War and improve at Brood War. We've got pupils and we've got coaches, and currently what you're watching is the 6 best pupils battling it out to find out who is the best sub-shimmer in the chat already. Glad to see some supporters. So these are the 6 best pupils, and they will face off against each other in a Swiss-style tournament, i.e. everybody plays everybody, and everyone plays 2 matches. And in the end, this is going to be round 1, and in the end, the 2 players with the highest score, excuse me, the 2 players with the highest score will be battling against each other in a best of 5 to determine who is the real CPL king. And that's why the league, I decided to call it CPL Royale. So it's the King of the Pupils. That is the title. For all the glory. Also, there is some small cash prize. But yeah, what happens with kings? Well, if they're good kings, they're great. But yeah, you should write that down. It's a very sensible thought. We do have mirror builds, so that's why I'm not really reflecting anything on the builds. But okay, so some aggression, yeah, happening already. We do see an engagement, beautiful engage by Pandor, just sniping the 2 Marines and trying to save his vultures. And I think Pandor will be successful in saving these vultures because there are reinforcements at his home, and he will be able to repair these vultures. And basically, he got 2 Marines for free. Which is great because this means that this very big healthy Terran overlord will not be taken off so easily. We don't see any anti-air, and I assume Pandor, doLife, excuse me, might be forced to make some glides. And I will continue my hinting about the fate of the kings later on in the next series, when we have again a bit of a low and while the players are building up. But currently we do have 2 machine shops from doLife, and we do have only 1 machine shop but 1 extra factory for Pandor. And Pandor throwing down the 4th factory. It seems like Pandor wants to be aggressive. We might finally see that mass vulture style. Basically, when you do that, you are trying to get as many vultures as possible. Also, research speed. There we go. Speed is being researched right now. You're trying to get as many vultures as possible. And then overwhelm your opponent. So basically, Pandor is able to scout that doLife made some Goliaths, and we'll try to just sneak in here, make use of the fact that there are no tanks, and he did quite a bit of eco damage. But also, when all is said and done, the counterattack is gonna have quite the potential. But we do see 2 big armies going against one another, and the armies are missing each other. I don't think these vultures will be enough to defend that natural, but at the same time there is one tank. There are no other machine shops, so if doLife is able to snipe that 1 tank, they're gonna do great. In the meantime, doLife did defend, but is now behind in workers. doLife was ahead 5 workers, but seems like Pandor's aggression did work out nicely. So not your typical TVT where both players will just make tanks and siege lines up until the 20th minute, and then beyond that they'll try to fight it off for every single inch. We do have already some aggression and some dynamic play from both of these Terrans. I like that. And it seems like doLife is calling Pandor's shot with the mass vulture, and he's making mass Goliaths in response. I do think that the mass Goliaths are great against the vultures, but these 2 tanks will basically pick off all these Goliaths, no problem. Or did I speak too soon? It seems like it. Okay, so Pandor's really in trouble this time. He's got mines and speed, but seems like these 3 Goliaths were enough, and there you go. Siege near the Terran's natural, that is never good. Goliaths are doing a great job sniping these mines, and earlier on doLife had a great micro to pull back the wounded Goliaths. We do have 4 factories from doLife against the 5 factories for Pandor. So Pandor does have the factory advantage, but at the same time doLife has a much better position, and there you go. doLife made it, and Pandor realized that he cannot really do anything when his natural is being sieged. And we do have 1-0 for doLife here. I don't know, can I make any of you moderator? I'm not sure. Maybe for next time there will be predictions, but I for one definitely did not think that doLife will take the first win. doLife is a great Terran player. I am more familiar with Pandor as well, but I really felt like Pandor is really strong and has been in peak performance this season. But doLife taking the lead, and currently doLife is 1-0. Let's see if Pandor can make it back in game number 2. And while I'm loading that, I should pick a scene. Is this one? Nope. Let's enjoy this scene for a second, so that you don't get spoiled with how long the match is gonna be. This is the series after CPL 8, so yeah, my scene is not the best, but it will do for now. I don't think we ever had any CPL 8 overlay. Data saying low at the CPL 7 overlay. Do we have any official CPL overlay? CPL 8? I'm not sure. Yeah, you can Photoshop data here, saying that for next week we might have some nice overlays for this. You can make one for the CPL Royale. Hit me up after that with all the players' names and so on. And okay, we are back at it. Pandor versus doLife, game number 2. And you are not allowed to see the game length, right? Excellent. So for next week we'll have better overlays. You heard it here first. Game number 2, the map is Polypoid. By the way, I will explain how maps work in a second. Maps are not always the same. Maps are not always the same, and we've got this map currently is Polypoid, and we've got doLife spawning in the bottom right corner and Pandor spawning in the top left corner. Is the audio too bad, Dada? Dada is saying that the audio is not great currently. I can try and think of something for next week. Maybe you can help me. Anyway, I hope that the audio is not too bad, and if it is, I can try and fix it right now. Otherwise, we should make it better for next week. Yeah, I think the noise that you're hearing is my fans going wild. I did tell you right before the stream I was trying to make my machine not explode. So yeah, I will really need to clean this, but also at some point I can get a noise filter. Yeah, This is what I mean. Right, and this time though, we have early gas from both of our players. And both of them are doing the access as far away in their base as possible, so that they can lift out the barracks and send it to scout right away. No one is really worried about early aggression, and that's why sometimes you will see Terrans going for that one racks and making 2 to 3 Marines and then going for an attack. But it's really not standard, and you don't see that almost ever. But it's a possibility, we shouldn't discount it. And again, doLife attempting for that earlier scout, and once again, doLife having the slight factory advantage. Seems like doLife is being more efficient with the mining. Let's look. So there is a trick that you can do where you're boosting your SCVs. I don't see doLife doing it right now, but I would assume earlier on in the game when not much was happening, he was boosting his workers, and that's why he can afford to both send the early scout and get the factory at relatively the same time as his opponent. That said, the CC was slightly later. It's not because he didn't really have the resources, it was more of the SCV not being in position. So both of the players see each other, they see that it's cross-map spawn, so that should, in my opinion, signal, okay, we can both turtle heavily and keep expanding. We don't really need to be aggressive earlier on, and I see we'll see a long macro TVT game, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. So sometimes in these situations it's exactly for that reason, when you think your opponent will go and be very defensive, you will get super offensive, and it seems like that is what doLife is going for. Remember last game Pandor did try to pull a fast one on doLife and was making a lot of factories. This game it seems that doLife has the earlier factory count. I was expecting him to follow that up with a 4th factory and a 5th factory, but that does not seem to be the case. Okay, so both of our players are currently just happily macroing, and Pandor will try to do some aggression, and it seems like doLife this time was not paying attention to his units, and he did lose that first Marine, and he did lose that one Vulture, and it's 2 Vultures against 1, and that can very quickly, it's basically the same as ZVZ with the Zerglings and PvT and PvP with the Dragoons. If you have one more, the fight can snowball very heavily. Luckily for doLife, the reinforcements were able to get here in time, and the army that was left for Pandor was not being reinforced and was not in overwhelming numbers, so that the snowballing effect did not really happen. And right now it seems like after the aggression both of the players are regrouping and thinking how should they transition into the mid game. Seems like for Pandor the answer is adding a 4th and a 5th factory, and for doLife the answer is making a lot of units and preparing for that defense. We also see doLife adding that armory, and we do not have an armory yet for Pandor. but instead Pandor has, as I said, 5 factories already, and is now able to scout that doLife has made a factory because Goliaths, armory because Goliaths are already out, and as a result decides to do exactly what doLife did to him last game and try to overwhelm with these Goliaths with vultures. Let's see if his strategy will be successful. It doesn't seem so. doLife had a beautiful concave here and was able to defend the Pandor's aggression. So as soon as that one tank is out, I think that vulture aggression should stop. Pandor is doing the very smart thing of laying some mines around, which will make it more difficult for the Terran army to move out. Of course, vultures do not trigger the mines, and Goliaths can most of the time shoot them down before they're able to connect, if Goliaths are in big enough numbers, and here they were not. And that is a huge mine hit that Pandor really needed. So Pandor will be able to reinforce that position, and he he has the potential. It seems like he will just keep reinforcing it with vultures, but he currently has the potential to reinforce it with some tanks, siege over here at the high ground, and make doLife's life, no pun intended, living nightmare. We have so many mines from both of our players already. It is a bit difficult to tell with their colors whose mines belong to whom. But we see doLife smartly being very cautious about going up that high ground, because the mischance is real, and if he does not have enough Goliaths and tanks to shoot out these mines, this can really very quickly turn the game around. And there we go. We do have the tanks reinforcing the line, and it will basically be a battle for this high ground. Whoever controls that high ground will be in a very advantageous position, and has a real possibility to take the whole game. Some really good mines by doLife. Seems like his offensive mine positioning will be able to defend, and Pandor is losing the window that he had to control this high ground. doLife able to completely negate the aggression and defend very well. So it seems like the game will continue, and we can transition to the next phase of the game. Pandor really had the opportunity to get much bigger advantage from the position that he currently was with his tanks, but the reinforcements came in a bit late, and doLife was able to defend that. As the transition, we see that both of our players are able to expand. doLife will get the mineral-only expansion, whereas Pandor will get the 12 o'clock. This is... the gas is obviously quite useful, even though you really... The more gas you have, obviously, the more tanks you're able to do, but really just staying and mining all these minerals is fine. But the main thing is there's only 6 mineral fields in the mineral only, whereas there are 7 for the 12 o'clock phase. So we do see doLife actually pushing out, and doLife is currently taking the advantage because of the high ground and because his tanks number were just simply higher because of the shorter reinforcement path. We do have +1 almost ready. and +2 is a big power spike in TVT. So no armory yet for Pandor. Seems like Pandor really relies on containing doLife, and that is their strategy for this game. That said, Pandor was able to spot some of the vultures moving out for doLife, and let's see the damage that they will be able to do. Pandor trying to take a 4th base here. I don't know about that. It seems to be a bit optimistic. Let's see if these vultures will find it. Both of our players scanning, using their scans, and you can see that the map vision is great for both of them. The SCV that was building the base was sniped, but more critically, these mines did a lot of damage, and that one vulture unfortunately glitched out and was not able to take out this tank. He's not targeting the very wounded tank. And doLife, it seems like doLife is making it. doLife is making Pandor's reinforcements really inefficient by placing these offensive mines right here. And in the meantime, doLife has managed to sneak some of his high ground on his high ground and say that the campaign game can be played by both of these players. I really like doLife's position, but it seems like he may have been spreading too thin. There are currently no tanks to defend his high ground. Of course, Pandor does not quite yet know that because they don't really have any scouting intel on this, and eventually these 2 raids will take out all of these 3 tanks that are currently making Pandor's life a living hell. But raids take a really long time to kill these. To kill the tanks. Meanwhile, we do see that both of the players have successfully managed to breach one of their opponent's bases and are sieging the mineral lines. No more workers for Pandor. He lost a lot of workers in the engagement, and doLife, I think, was able to save a lot of his workers. doLife finding yet another transfer of these SCVs. It might be really that might be the final nail in the coffin. If doLife is able to annihilate this mineral line as well, you can see how few SCVs Pandor has. Currently he's got 12 in his main base, and all the remaining SCVs are right here at the 12 o'clock position. So thankfully for him, he was able to defend the 12 o'clock. One very critical thing is not letting the 12 o'clock fall down, which I think Pandor will might be able to do for now. Let's see if these reinforcements can get to the 12 o'clock safely. And the answer is no. The doLife's vultures were on the high ground before that, and it was just tactical victory from doLife. Really great. doLife taking the lead and being 2-0 in these matches. So that concludes the whole first week of the matches for our CPL Royale League. And right now I will cast one of the matches for week 2. And I will try to get a hold of the players to get me a few more games to cast, because I know most of them have already played, so we should have a few more games And as I was saying earlier, this is the CPL 8 Royale. The best 6 pupils are fighting it off against each other to find out who's really the CPL king. And as I was alluding earlier, there are always plots against every king in every courthouse, and we have some of our pupils already rebelling against the king, even though they are not official yet. And we have the Terran player Love Snow setting up a challenge for our competitors here. He wagered $10 on being able to defeat whoever is the king in the best of 5 series, and that is the big review for this week. Whatever the winner of this CPL Royale will be, is gonna be crowned as the best player, the best pupil in the league. But then he will be susceptible to all of these people who are trying to be the Kingslayers, and we do have Love Snow already being one of them, wagering these $10 and going against the king. So we will see if it's gonna be a situation of the king is dead, long live the king, or if the winner of this set of series will be able to defend against Love Snow as well. And yeah, if you are people that really thinks that they can take on these 6 players right here, feel free to get a hold of me, and we can set up an additional series of show matches to go alongside with our Coach Show Match series. Speaking of the Coach Show Match series, I will use this time to remind everybody to go and vote for which coach or which 2 coaches they want to see face against each other in the CPL series that we are sponsoring. And we will be hosting a game. We will be hosting 2 show match series for the top 2 coaches that have been selected by the players. You can vote for which show match you would like to see on our website. I will post a link for that in the chat right here. Currently, I see that Wolfix and Jumperer are in the lead, and then we have Shiboteran versus Jumperer, Master Race versus Wolfix, Wolfix versus Ogzerk, and Ogzerk versus Cryok as the runner-ups. So if your favorite is already in these choices, great for you. If you also want to see one of these coaches one of these show matches, make sure to support the show match that you really want to see, because as you can see currently the results are quite on the edge. And later on in this week I will be making announcements. I will be closing that poll with only the top 10 choices, and we will have a second round where hopefully 2 of the matches will be selected as the favorites for all the players. And that was all the plugs that I had for now. And without further ado, let's get to our second game of the night, which is gonna be Exit versus Jedi 1. So that is already a week 2 match. We did see Exit and Jedi 1 fighting off last week. Not against each other, but as I said, in this Swiss format, everyone will play everyone else. And if your 2 favorites have not played yet, just you wait. You will see them, and they will definitely play. I agree with you that that will definitely be a whooper of a match. Let's try and pull some statistics. We can maybe include that for next season as well. So, okay, so while both of our players are doing their openings, we do have exit spawning in the top left corner as the Dread Terror, and we do have Jedi 1 spawning in the bottom left corner as the pale blue Protoss. Right, and as I was saying, while we are waiting for our players to show their openings, and so that we can talk more about their builds. Now, something very sneaky is going on. Okay, I will tell you all about the statistics later on, because we do have a super early pylon in the middle of the map by Jedi 1. Even though the map process is made such that both players should be relatively happy with this map, we do have Jedi 1 already having prepared a special strategy. Data asking the real questions in the chat. He is asking, is it going to be a 1 gate or 2 gates? Seems like it's going to be a 1 gate, so that is not necessarily an all-in. I know it might sound a bit confusing for some of our new players or people not really familiar with Brood War, but in PvP, only one gateway in the center of the map is not quite an all-in, because earlier on the Protoss can operate on very few units, and this just signals that the Protoss wants to be aggressive. So in the end of the day, even if they lose their gateway and their pylon, they wouldn't really care. Jedi 1 being a bit lucky and scouting exit immediately. Let's see if exit is gonna go for that end scout, which is in this pattern, and that will allow him to see the zealots and the proxy. Oh my god, Jedi 1 is a god. He is using the Force, he is channeling all these little guys. This is replace Light Swarm. The finals will possibly be live, but currently, because of the availability of our players and the time zones, I don't really want to A, make them all play in the same time, and B, if they are both not in Europe, make their games even worse by being in the game. So currently I have decided to give the players the freedom of selecting a time that works best for them. Oh my god, that is such a beautiful marine positioning by exit. None of the zealots, neither on the top or the bottom, can target that one marine. That one marine is basically invincible, and a beautiful sim city with that supply depot over the gas is gonna be able to fend off some of the aggression. We see a third zealot coming in, so Jedi 1 not stopping at one zealot. These three zealots did some damage, but let's see what the counterattack will be by exit, or if he's gonna go for a counter at all. The first Dragoon is out, and Jedi 1 smartly building WoW in his natural, preventing that single vulture from getting into the mineral line and losing Jedi 1 the game. Exit very smartly is just keeping that one vulture on the map, and Jedi 1 has to respect it. He's got no other choice but to respect that one vulture that it is on the map. And so one of the Dragoons goes back. It seems like the Dragoon has managed to find the vulture, and it's very critical for Exit to not lose this vulture, because if Exit loses that vulture, he cannot put pressure on the Protoss anymore, because that one Dragoon and the ones out are making sure that nothing really is happening. Nothing is really leaving the Terran base. Of course, that one tank will be able to push away that small Protoss army, but with the two Dragoons, it's time for Jedi 1 to be aggressive. And it seems like that one Dragoon was able to pick off the vulture out on the map, and as I was saying earlier, you really don't want that one vulture to be unscouted, to die, because now Jedi 1 can commit all of his forces to the Terran Natural. Exit making the best of his high ground mischance. The bunker is empty, and this might just be barely enough to keep them alive. Meanwhile, we do see Templar tech from Jedi 1, and he is gonna be relying on these Dark Templars. So it seems like he's not really a Jedi. He looks more like a Sith Lord right now with these Dark Templars. He is going to the dark side, and he's dipping into that dipping into the forbidden knowledge for Invisible Man. And let's see what Exit's reaction to Invisible Man will be. There is no detection whatsoever by Exit, and yeah, Exit just throws the towel and says the GG. Beautiful aggression by Jedi 1. And Invisible Man too strong. Jedi 1 will be able to win this game. 1-0 for Jedi 1, which reminds me that I need to update my overlay. So we're not watching doLife against Pandor anymore, we are watching Jedi 1 versus Exit. Of course, Exit, very strong Terran player. For those that don't know, Exit was currently participating in the most recent BSL 16 America's Championship, I believe. Pandor, I don't think Pandor is... I think he can technically switch to Protoss if he wants, without us saying that Pandor should switch to Protoss if he wants to win. I don't really have any specific rules against race picking, but it would be nice if players stick to whatever they played in the league. But of course, again, there are no specific rules, and probably both players are fine with it. I will also be fine with it. Anyway, game number 2 between Jedi 1 and Exit. Jedi 1 already 1-0. Spawning here in the top right corner of Silphid, and we do have Exit as the red Terran spawning in the top left corner. As I was saying, Exit definitely not a player that you can underestimate. He was participating with the top dogs fairly recently. But as we saw last game, Jedi 1 was able to pull out the victory here with the early aggression, and we see a forward pylon. Yeah, again, this time it's in the natural. It seems like that may be Jedi's way of preferred way of playing. But we would also see wall from this turn this time. So if exit does supply depot here, and the barracks over here, that is a complete wall, I believe, and the Marines are spawning at the inside the base, so they are not in any risk of taking damage to earlier zealots. And meanwhile, with that forward gate, that will most likely mean that we would see a zealot being made. Seems like exit not going for that full wall. It will just make that SimCity over here, the micro hole, as Artosis calls it, and I really hate that term. But let's not go into semantics. Earlier, as I was saying, the first map was Good Night, and the way we can see exit scouting the middle, the way map selection works in this league is the map pool is all 5 maps that have been in the map pool for this season of the CPL, and at the beginning, when both players are due to play their match, they have to each of them has 2 bans, so they each ban 2 of the maps, of the 5 maps, for a total of 4 maps being banned, and whatever map is left is the one that they are both relatively happy with playing on, and that is map number 1. Then map number 2, in this case Sylphid, is the loser's choice, so we know that exit has picked Sylphid as the map of his choice, and I really do not blame exit for picking Sylphid. Sylphid seems like a really great map for Terran. There is big turtling potential, and the fort base is relatively easy to take, whichever fort base you pick. And then fort base Terran is basically everything you need against the Protoss. Fort base is more than enough to pull off that really scary 3-2 army that most Protoss players are having big issues with in stopping. Meanwhile, we do see that this one zealot tried to be a bit aggressive. Exit had a beautiful wall here with the factory being started just in time to prevent that zealot from walking in, and is now even playing it even safer by having these 2 SCVs on the ramp. I do believe that these 2 SCVs are a bit unnecessary right now, especially because he has 4 Marines and a tank is in the production, but who am I to tell exit how to play Terran? If he thinks that these 2 SCVs are needed, they probably are. Okay, so as I was saying, Jedi 1 dipping into the dark side again and going for that really fast Templar tech. Let's see if that Citadel is gonna be for DTs, or if he's gonna try and do some crazy speed zealot all in. Even though I don't believe that this is gonna work. We do have a 5 Marine and 1 tank move out. That is a very strong timing by Terran. Protoss is on 3 Dragoons. Technically, with perfect micro, the Protoss might be able to stop this. But the really big thing is, did exit notice the lack of range for these Dragoons? Let's see. He is not researching mines yet, but he is building that engineering bay. So the engineering bay will help against these Templars. Seems like mines is already done. The Protoss does not yet have a robotics facility. Critically, Jedi 1 is able to not let these Dragoons. Oh my god, that mine hit. Jedi 1 was doing a great job not letting the vultures get into the base, but right now the Terran army is inside the Protoss Sim City, and that never ends well for Protoss. I believe Exit has done it. This was a really strong timing, and even Invisible Man might not be enough to save Jedi 1 this time. DT is definitely a strong unit, but not really strong enough. Jedi 1 is trying to make some SimCity such that the vultures do not do as much damage. But with both of these gateways being heavily harassed by these mines, Jedi 1 has nothing left to do except admit defeat and call GG. We do also have 0 workers for Jedi 1, I do want to point that out. So, Jedi 1 versus Exit, a very fast series. That is gonna end in 1-1. I didn't really have any replays earlier, but I do have some replays now for you. And we're gonna see one more match from Season 2. It's gonna be DoodleDoodle, our undefeated CPL player this season, against doLife. So we did see doLife earlier doing a great job. Going 2-0 against Pandora. And now we're gonna see doLife against DoodleDoodle. Lightswarm saying in the chat that doLife wins against doLife. We'll see about that. I thought last week as well that DoodleDoodle would do very good, but Jedi 1 was able to pull a 2-0 victory against him. So nothing is decided. That is why this is the CPL Royale. All of these 6 players have very good chances of winning. Basically, each of them is equally skilled. They can all take games from one another. And yeah, without further ado, let's go into DoodleDoodle versus doLife. It's gonna be yet another PvT that we can enjoy. The first map is gonna be Butter. That is the map of choice for both of our players. Butter is, yeah, Jedi 1 2-0 against Dodo. You can see the cast from last week. It's definitely a highlight on my channel. I'm not sure if it's on YouTube. Dada, do you know if it's on YouTube? Maybe Dada can confirm in chat if he's still here. Yep, it's on YouTube as well, so you can check it either in the channel or you can check it on the CPL YouTube page. We do have the CPL Royale from week 1 games, and if you look at that, you will see DoodleDoodle versus Jedi 1. And without further ado, as I said, the first map is Butter. Dada giving a link to the YouTube channel. The map before was the series before ended in the score was 1-1. So I should fix that. So the score that we had was 1-1 for Jetty and Exit. And right now we will have doLife and Doodle. Okay, so our first map is Butter. You should already know how the map selection process works. If you don't, rewind this cast to the beginning of the previous game. That's where I explained it. But without further ado, we've got PvT again, and we've got DoodleDoodle spawning on the top side of Butter. We've got doLife spawning at the bottom side of Butter. I am quite happy with the map selection process that I provided, because that gives us a lot of dynamic maps, and you never really know what maps the players will pick, which makes the whole game a bit more dynamic, not as stale as seeing the same matchup in the same map every single time. And I do like the randomness. I think that's great. If you also think that, let me know if you think the format is terrible and we should change for next season. Also, please, especially if you think that, please let us know so we can try and improve for next time. And Doodle, quite contrasting from the previous Protoss player that we did see, Jerry is opting for a gateway in his main base, which is very standard, but also going for that gas steal. He is a Protoss player after all. He should do some ape moves. You can never just play a standard game. That's not how PvT is supposed to work. A Protoss player is an ape after all. Coming from me. What else did I want to say? Oh yes, let's talk about some statistics, because both of our players have very... I was gonna say standard openings, but Doodle has not taken their gas yet. And he's building a second pylon over here, which means that he really wants to get that earlier Nexus, but with the eBay block, Doodle will just revert to taking the gas and core. So a bit of a delayed gas and core, so that his tech is gonna be a bit delayed. That's no ideal. It's not the end of the world, but it was a great read by doLife. So doLife able to counter very nicely what Doodle was trying to pull here. And that SCV is being as annoying as it can. Doodle will probably try to expand after that second Zealot, because the SCV will not be able to block for much longer. And let's see, we do have a Dragoon on the way to defend against any super early Marine pushouts, and an expansion should be going up. But you can see that the delayed tech was really not what Doodle wanted. The Terran Command Center is almost halfway done when Doodle will start his Nexus. And as the Protoss player, you really want to start your Nexus about at the same time as the Terran is starting their CC. In our case, we've got doLife, whose CC is 3/4 done, and meanwhile the Nexus is just starting. The 2 Zealots and 1 Dragoon unfortunately are not going to be able to do much, because doLife has very good SimCity, and it seems like doLife will just simply transition into the mid game very safely, and I can say that doLife definitely has got the advantage from the opener. Doodle seems to be a bit cautious, scouting what's going on the map, which is better safe than sorry, because he has not scouted that CC, and the Zealots were too busy dealing with the SCV in the main base, so he doesn't really know if doLife did not go for a super early factory, which would mean Vulture could be somewhere on the map. And Doodle seems like he knows he's behind, and he is trying to get a super fast third Nexus to compensate for the fact that the natural base was a bit slower. doLife, on the other hand, is going for that eBay and that Academy, and I think going for both is a bit dated now. Usually Terran planners will try to get away with just building one of these buildings, since they would both give you protection, and he is preparing for Reavers, if there are any Reavers. I do see a lot of players going for an Academy and an Armory these days, because instead of turrets, as soon as they get their Academy finished and build their comsat, they can scan the Protoss base, and if there are any Reavers about to pop, or if they see any shuttles, they can always make 2 to 3 Goliaths and fend off any Reaver aggression that way. But in our case, doLife is playing a bit blind. We can see how commanding his early game lead was, since despite the fact that Dodo did manage to get that third base so fast and way before doLife was ahead in workers up until 20 seconds ago. doLife now taking their second gas, which would signal that doLife is about to, Dodo, is about to transition into their tech. We do have scans going for doLife. He wants to confirm if the Protoss player has taken a third base, and he sees that that inner 1 o'clock base is already up and running. He's not gonna feel super happy about that. He also sees that as one shuttle trying to get into the main base, and contrary, Dodo will not be happy about seeing these that turret ring there. There is an opening, and the Vultures could have snuck into the main base. Reaver going back to defend the third base, but a huge army from doLife in the middle of the map, protected by the mines here. We do have speed shuttle, and the Reaver tech is out. The Reaver is great at stopping such early engagements, and it seems like in this case the Reaver was not even necessary. The Reaver did manage to sandwich the Terran army and not let it escape, but overall the Dragoons were able to fend off that skirmish army pretty easily. And doLife cannot be happy about that. doLife was ahead earlier on, but right now things are not looking great for doLife. He lost that small army. Excuse me. He lost that small army near the Protoss natural, and now has to do with 2 Reavers. So he's timing out and pushing out of his base is gonna be much harder right now. But we do see 5 factories, M+1, going for doLife. Dodo will finally add a cannon over here at the 3rd base in order to defend it. doLife doing a good job delaying that 4th base, and seeing that this 4th base is currently being taken will make doLife happy about his choice of the 5 factories, but also will put him on a timer. Basically, doLife will have one really good timing right now, as he keeps producing out all these 5 factories. But if this timing doesn't work, he will be massively behind. We do see some more scans going on, and doLife is able to confirm the carriers. We do see 4 Stargate carrier. That is a bit much. I don't think Dodo is able to support that many carriers. But let's see what Dodo can do with these. We have 4 Stargates and 5 gateways. I want to point that out. And doLife, seeing these carriers, will add an additional factory. I didn't expect additional 2 factories, but instead what he is deciding to go for. See, oh yeah, there is the 2nd factory. Instead, what he is deciding to go for would be that science facility. It's not gonna be for upgrades. It is most likely gonna be for that science vessel, so that he can mainly use EMP on his enemy. The 4 Stargates are blinking, and if Dodo does not push out in the next 4 to 5 minutes, he will be doomed, and the carrier numbers will be too big, too overwhelming. As a general rule of thumb, you can only support as many Stargates as you have gases. And okay, as I say, that Dodo does have access to 4 gas currently, or not quite yet. And that's why you can see he's not really able to support all these 4 Stargates effectively. He will not be opting to go for any arbiters, and we do have many. Where was that scan? I missed it. We do have many Goliaths being made, and this is the right thing to do. But the carrier numbers are already growing and are already might be critical number of carriers in the next minute or 2. Dodo will be going for that 5th base, and I don't really think a 5th base can work. Not against a Terran player who is already on 2 bases. Okay, we do have another scan. And yeah, you can see how big doLife's army is. It's very important that the army does not split here, and he is doing a great job of making sure that does not happen. doLife has added more gateways, but these 7 gateways will not be enough to stop the 7 factory production from the Terran player. But as I said, these carriers are already approaching critical mass. They do not have all of their interceptors yet, as you can see here. This one does. But a lot of the carriers do not have their interceptors quite yet. That one is very low, extremely low, and it seems like Dodo might be going for the counterattack. while doLife will be pushing out this main force, but this small army of 4 Goliaths will be very scary and might push a lot of these carriers back, or at least make them think twice. He is reinforcing with a lot of Goliaths, and he should really send the Goliaths to fight off against the carriers. He should try to mimic the carrier movement with these Goliaths and let the tanks deal with everything else. Let's see. His focus fire really needs to be on point here. Meanwhile, the same goes for Dodo. He needs to snipe all these siege tanks if he wants to fight the Goliath army. The shuttle went down with the river in it, and this looks very close. But I think doLife has enough Goliaths to be able to stop that carrier fleet from getting to critical mass. We do have 4 carriers here, and we really need another round of Goliaths, which is exactly what's coming as a reinforcement. There are no more siege tanks, so these Zealots will do good against the Goliaths, but you really want Dragoons to be fighting them, because Goliaths don't do good damage on Dragoons. Meanwhile, as I said, Dodo was a bit too greedy. He lost the 4th base and is now about to lose the 3rd base. That is enough Goliaths to snipe all of the interceptors as they're trying getting out of the carriers, and you don't really need to fight any of these carriers right now, because the interceptors, they don't have any interceptors, they cannot do any damage. And it seems like doLife may have done it. I think doLife has done it, and Dodo is just spending the time that he has. There we go, GG from both of our players. doLife, Dodo might have been spending these last remaining 30 or 40 seconds in the game thinking about what map he wants to play on next time, and where is best to go and try to fight off against Dodo. Oh my god, what did I do? Why did they move that there? My overlay is not being very cooperative. Hold on while I try to fix it. There we go. It is not the best, but that's what we're gonna live with for now. The score is 1-0 for doLife. So to Lightsworm in chat that was saying that Dodo was gonna win. Are you not entertained now? doLife did pull off, and yeah, for next week I might try to have some for next week I might try to have some predictions, so you can do the casino and have your guesses ready. Anyway, let's jump into game number 2. for these two players. doLife pulling it ahead, and at the end I will tell you what are the current standings and who is currently in the lead for our league. So Doodle versus doLife, game number 2. Game number 2 will be on Polypoid. So Doodle picking Polypoid this time. And yeah, it seems like Doodle is thinking that he can really beat doLife in a big macro game. As we saw that that really was his intention to do in game number 1 as well, by adding these 4 gateways, 4 stargates. So we do have currently our Terran player spawning in the bottom right corner of Sylphid, of Polypoid, excuse me, doLife, and in the top left corner we do have Ash. We do have DoodleDoodle playing for... Oh, what clan was Dodo in? Was he in red? Does anyone know? I think he was in red. Last I know, anyway. In any case, the game is currently quite standard. And they do have the standings here. Doodle going for that super early scout. This used to be a popular build, I feel, about 2 years ago. Going for that super early scout and then playing reactively based on what you see from your Terran. I think it was really popular when Terrans love to do gasless expands. But the real thing here is if you are scouting after a pylon, your economy is taking a big hit. And that's what we see currently for Dodo. Of course, doLife recognizing that this scout was very fast. Let's see what the reaction might be. I think what might happen is doLife, because of the speed of that scout, might scout this base and then go directly to scout the top right base. Also building a second supply depot right next to the barrack, making sure that the Marines have some room to micro. And we also did see that he tried to block doLife tried to block the ramp with the SCV. Meanwhile, DoodleDoodle recognizing that doLife is playing way too passively by building that depot, blocking the ramp, and starting his factory. And we would just go ahead and take the Nexus even before the cybernetics core. And yeah, as I was saying, doLife going for that scout pattern. Nexus is already up, and that is very different from last game. I don't know what prompted the cancellation of this bunker. I think just having the Marines kill off the probe. Doodle was doLife was thinking that Doodle saw doLife building the bunker, so because of that he can skip the bunker, since Dodo is unlikely to try and be aggressive against the bunker. I do like that play from doLife, and that SCV was able to waltz right into the Terran's main base. And it is gonna be able to scout everything right now. But you can see Dodo's early Nexus is paying off, and he is 6 workers ahead right now. doLife's CC not even done yet. Great transfer. That is about as many workers that you want transferred. Maybe one more would have been the most optimal, but that's basically as good as it gets. Very standard play from both players. There are tanks and no additional factories being made by our Terran player, so no vulture speed and no mines, which means that the Terran player will not try to be aggressive. Meanwhile, Dodo is getting the Robo, getting observers, playing it safe, and that is really what you should do in such a situation. He is so ahead that there is no reason to try and cut any corners. doLife will place these mines down to ensure that Dodo cannot take his third base easily. But one of these Dragoons suicided into the mines, and doLife lost vision of that 12 o'clock base, but traded 2 mines for 1 Dragoon, and I believe any Terran will agree with me. Any day that you trade 2 mines for a Dragoon, you are happy with this trade. We see additional factories going down now for doLife, very standardly, and this time the river is here, but of course we know that it's empty, but doLife doesn't. And doLife might be thinking, how did you get such a fast river in my base with your Nexus being so early? And the answer is, he only got the shuttle, he didn't get any rivers. doLife now scouting, confirming a third base. At the mineral only, and let's see if he's gonna scout the 4th base and the 12 o'clock. Now, seeing that shuttle, he is adding turrets, which is a good response if you're not planning to stay alert with your Goliaths. But basically, doLife is taking the very turtle-y position, as many players like to do. And Dodo is soft countering that by just trying to take up the whole map behind that. He's saying, you know what, if you want to play defensive, go ahead and play defensive. See if I am just gonna take all these resources, and eventually when you try to move out, I will have more army and more production, and I will be able to beat you that way. But we see second Robo coming down for Doodle. doLife confirming the 4th base is already up. He did not really see it warping in, I believe. He just barely missed it, but he can probably guess that the fort base will be ready very soon. And let's see what the response will be like. I'm not sure what building got cancelled over here. Some more factories being added. doLife scanning for that observer, which is sneakily hiding over here. The chateau is already loaded with 2 rivers, and let's see what the 2 robos are gonna do. Currently we do have 2 robos and they're both building observers. doLife is just pushing to that high ground, and he wants to take his expansion very standardly. Of course Dodo has to respect it, and he's backing his dragoons off. That observer, already we've got speed for our observer, will see that defensive position. The observer will see that there are not really that many tanks, and with all the rivers that we have, and now many more shuttles, I believe scarab damage is already researched. Both of these shuttles will pick up some zealots to try and bomb the... Oh no, that river is not unloading. And yes, as you can see here, scarab damage is done. Process players with that research scarab damage can be very deadly if they get into the Terran main base, but that was some of the best scarabs ever. But yeah, with speed shuttle, let's see how that engagement goes. Will the CC go down? It seems like yes. doLife was not really doing anything to save it, and the 2 rivers will be able to pick that 1 tank off. This is currently looking very dicey for doLife. I'm not sure what that CC. What was the purpose of that CC there? But if the rivers can land over here and target, let's say, the academy, they will kill the academy and these 2 depots. Or if they land over here and target the armory, even better, they will kill all these 4 buildings. And with the scarab damage, it will take them about 3 hits to take down the supply depots, and another 1 or 2 hits to take down the armory and the academy. So really annoying for doLife to deal with. doLife now seeing the 4 shuttles, and these 4 shuttles have 4 rivers in them. Luckily, no mines were here and able to detonate that. Let's see if Dodo will focus fire that armory. It's very critical in my opinion that he does focus fire the armory. All these 3 rivers are currently bringing havoc into the main base. He now sees the armory and he's focusing that. And since that turret is down, he will be able to save both of the rivers. And currently doLife only mining on 1 base. These 2 shuttles seem like they are not gonna be going back home. But who needs these 2 shuttles when Dodo has already made backup shuttles? And let's see, 4 shuttles heading to the Terran main base yet again. But this time the main Protoss army is also marching towards the Terran expansion. I feel like Dodo might have had too big of pressure this time. you can see how that early Nexus is paying off its dividends already. The shuttles being a bit out of sync from one another. The Zeld bombs are already dead when the Reavers are going down, but this is so many Reavers and Scarab damage is helping also a lot that it didn't matter as much. But now all the Reavers are down, and it's just Dragoons against tanks, and the tanks are on the high ground. You never really want to see that happening. If there were a few SCVs over here to repair that one single tank, maybe doLife may have defended, but it seems like Doodle may have pulled this off and may have breached the Terran expansion. Of course, these reinforcing factory units might be enough to push away that single Protoss army, but we do have all these 4 shuttles alive, and High Templars are already up as well, so it's gonna be really tricky for doLife to defend this, but that is one way that he can get back into the game if Doodle keeps throwing these armies away like that. You really want to sink your armies when you're going for that style, and doLife will try to retake their 3rd base again. So really beautiful aggression by our Protoss player already, going for that air armor upgrade, and this is not a mistake. He did not misclick weapons. He is going for that armor to make the shuttles stay alive for a bit longer. And that is so many Reavers into the main base. He can save them with that one. Two shuttles, and even if they start focusing the supply depots, that is so annoying for the Terran player to deal with. But as I said, that Dodo is still being quite annoying despite his huge bank. He is in the lead. He is on 6 bases now, taking his 7th base as well, and he keeps denying that mining from that base, taking that high ground natural position over and over again, so that doLife cannot go back to mine from there, and you can see that the natural is almost mined out for the Terran player. It seems like the doLife is running really low on resources, has some minerals left over in the main base, but the natural is all mined out, and with that really tiny army and no more resources left to mine, he will tap out and call the GG. And that's the end of our series today. We did have doLife versus DoodleDoodle, and they did end in 1-1. And this is all the replays that I've got so far from the CPL Royale, but I can definitely tell you what the standings currently look like. I am not sure why my chart that keeps track of the results is messing up a bit, but we do have exit currently with 3 victories and only a single loss to Jedi 1. We do have doLife also with a 3-1 score, and we have Doodle with only 1 win so far. Meanwhile, Jedi 1 also is at 3-1, and Art of Turtle has only played 1 series last week and does not have any wins yet. But we will see. We will see how many. What is Art of Turtle gonna pull off in this week? So Art of Turtle and Pandor are due to play their matches, and you will be able to catch these next week. Anyway, without any further ado, that is all the matches that I had for this week. Special shoutouts to everyone who tuned into the stream today. I think we had some good games. We had definitely some upsets. I can definitely say with full honesty that I was not expecting all these results. And this only proves that our players are so evenly skilled that anything really can happen. For next week, Dada has agreed to help me with the overlays, and we'll try to make the sound even better. Possibly there will also be predictions, so whoever is joining next week will be able to tune into the action and do some live predictions going. I think right now Team Think Quick is streaming, so Ox is streaming StarCraft. He did invite me to come and join casting with his new world map contest, and I think we are gonna host him because he is such a nice guy. So definitely give him a follow if you haven't already, and look forward for when he starts to be more active again. Currently, he is just finishing off that project that he started in the beginning of the year, and he is going on a bit of a hiatus after that. But anyway, we all hope, or at least I definitely do hope, that we will see him after he returns. And without any further ado, I'm gonna host him right now, and you feel free to join me in the raid. And with that, I thank you all for coming, and let's raid some. Let's raid Team Quick, and I'll see you all next week, same time. If not, I'll make an announcement, but that's what I'm aiming for right now. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and GG's.